Today is winter cut day 5, 157 pounds, and we're hitting chest day. I got my breakfast here. It's a little bit awkward. You might be thinking, you know, why is he eating cookies and banana bread on a cut? But as long as it's in your calorie limit, doesn't matter. One thing I kind of thought about is I've heard a lot of people say after a certain amount of years of being natural, like 3, it's not really worth being natural anymore because you're not going to make any more gains. And it's just impossible as a natty. But, and then they're like, oh, you should just hop on gear or whatever. But my thing is, that approach just lacks patience. Like, if you actually look in the industry with a legitimate, truthful eye, you'll see how many naturals are genuinely really excelling even in year 10 of training, you know. And it's really inspiring, you know, some of the people who are continuing to make progression, who've already been training 10, 15 years. It's just a matter of being patient and making those micro progressions that add up over time as a natural, and eventually that'll show in your physique. My whole point is the natural grind is worth it. Right, Dad?
Right. The natural grind is worth it.
Yeah, if you added a protein shake to this, all of a sudden you'd call it a bulk meal. I know a lot of you would do that, but that's not enough, necessarily. If I was bulking, I'd seriously be pounding in the carbs right now. By the way, I can't ignore how good this smells. These cookies smell insane. Anyway, if I was on the bulk, I would be literally eating, we're talking a lot. Now, obviously I wouldn't want to be in too big of a surplus, so I'd avoid, you know, overeating too many, but I mean, here this meal was around, I think, like 60 carbs is probably going to be. So, and I'm having it on the cut. Wednesday. Gosh.
It's Tuesday.
A cold, gray Tuesday. Rinse out my cup that I use for salt water. By the way, salt water isn't too bad. You guys, there's a lot of you guys who need to start getting into the saltwater grind. So we're basically here, pulling up to the gym, and I'm excited. Today's gonna be a little bit switched up from what I normally do. I noticed really good gains by doing a lot more stretch-based chest movements, like, you know, wide grip type of benching, flies, pullovers, specifically dumbbell flies and dumbbell pullovers, because the strength curve is towards the bottom. So I'm going to kind of abuse that a little bit, get some, maybe even a little bit of rib cage expansion from what I hear about dumbbell pullovers. And yeah, today's going to be a good, solid chest day. Yeah, guys, I feel like wide grip can definitely irritate your shoulders more. But to me, I feel like the stretch is just unmatched. If it feels good, then do it. If it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. A lot of people overcomplicate this stuff. You don't need to, really. Alright. You know, guys, I think there's some magic to wide grip. Maybe it's just me being silly, but I feel like wide grip
benching, wide grip in general for rowing. I just feel like it hits the muscles better. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know for a fact, but at least in my training experience, I've grown so much more from wide grip based training, and I'm just excited to see where I can take it, because especially for like bench, I've only implemented it this wide today, so I'm just curious to see where it goes. It feels good on the shoulders, but yeah, so that's the magic with that. But for this exercise, guys, a lot of people just forego any sort of decline, lower chest work, but in my opinion, I think a lot of people's lower chests are maybe even underdeveloped because they get told from the fitness industry not to work their lower chest because it's just, you shouldn't work it just because. I think that's kind of dumb. It depends on the person. If your lower chest is small, which I've been told by a ton of people, then you should probably work it. You should probably train it and maybe even prioritize it in your training, which I think, for lower chest, prioritizing it is very easy, honestly. You get to lift more, it's more fun, it's easier on your joints because you're not going in as deep of angles with like decline bench. It's pretty enjoyable. But yeah, I mean, for lower chest, that's it. And also, I'm experimenting with just super deep flies. I'm trying to go as deep as I can, finding my way to get deeper almost every rep if possible, without rounding my shoulders as well, because if you round your shoulders into the rep, you're not really stretching your pec, you're just getting some shoulder damage potentially. But at the end of every rep, I'm trying to literally row or do kind of like a rear delt fly backwards, and it just really enhances the stretch. It makes it feel that much stronger on the pecs. Now, is that beneficial for growth? I don't know, but I'm trying. So is this part of kind of the Arnold philosophy a little bit, just getting really deep stretches with your pecs, really just relishing in the stretches and contractions, and I feel like it's going to work. So, especially when you put progressive overload into play. I mean, imagine me doing this eventually with 65s, Chest would definitely be a lot bigger. So...
Yeah, you that's my stomach. Still look good, but your arms. All you gotta do is just find bicep and shoulders. But I don't know, but I mean, I'm only 100. Like I was 160, so I got sick, and now I'm like 155 again. But I would love to do 155. My issue was it's not getting better. It's sustaining that way. I use like a 190, 200 pound person, and because I lift weights, I don't hold that 200 pounds. I only hold 180, 185. If I didn't like mentally.
This is another one of those exercises that might have a little bit of magic to it. I'll tell you this right now. A lot of people say it's a back exercise. If you do it the way I'm doing it, it's not going to be. If you prioritize the first 3/4 of the range of motion, you're likely just going to get a fatigued chest. Your lats will be fine. You can hit a pull day the next day pretty much with no problem. Now, with that said, triceps are going to get nasty sore from this. It's a great long head sort of destroyer exercise, but I'm mainly doing this for the aspect of, yes, this is a cool way to target the chest. It's a unique angle to hit it from, but there may also be a novel rib cage expansion benefit. Now, I'll say this. If your coastal cartilage gets sore after any sort of exercise, you probably stretched it a lot. Now, does that mean it's going to stay stretched? I don't know. But what I do know is that if there is a genuine rib cage expansion benefit, I want to get it.
Stretching and contraction of this exercise for your chest is unmatched. Don't do the whole range of motion. Just do the first like half to 3/4. And you might get rib cage expansion too, based on what I've heard. I don't know, but I'm hoping for it.
Little side note on this exercise, you have to be very intentional. To get to failure is a very difficult task. Moving on to the French press, which I've been enjoying greatly. I'll say this, it looks really cool, but it feels so dangerous, like when you fail. I can't tell you how many times I've hit my head or knocked my headphones off onto the ground or needed like somebody to pick the dumbbell off of my shoulders. Now moving on to side raises. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys, I don't take these too seriously like I used to. My shoulders used to be massively underdeveloped because I just skipped them all the time and I didn't really care to develop them, which sounds kind of weird for a gym bro. But I eventually figured out how to train them super hard and I liked it. And I grew them a lot and I feel like now they're a little bit disproportionately big. And now I'm really just prioritizing my chest. So I only did I think 2 sets of that. To speak on how the cut is going so far, I'll say this. Binging on the weekends has been kind of a bad habit of mine, and I usually gain a few pounds of water weight on the weekends, or sometimes even more, and then I end up being a lot slower in the whole cutting process, which I'm enjoying right now because I get to see very fast progress in a sense. I mean, cutting is the fastest that you'll ever see your physique transform, especially if you're natural. But yeah, if I get the binging on the weekend, sorted out and stop doing that so much, I feel like this cut is going to end much sooner. It's been going on for a while. Overall, I'm down 29 pounds. At my lowest, I was down 30 pounds from my peak weight. But I think my overall shape is really good now. And I think I've made a lot of progress. I'm not really kind of in that scary bulk territory where I was, where my shape was kind of going. I think my V-taper's all right. It's coming back like it used to be. But this time I'm just much wider. I feel like my shoulders got a lot bigger. Can't really help it at this point. I think my shoulders are just genetically pretty good in the sense of I kind of put on size without me really prioritizing them at all. 3 sets of lateral raises here and there with no overhead pressing. I guess I don't want to say no overhead pressing, but I mean, I only started doing overhead pressing these past couple months. So, and even then, it's on and off. It's pretty inconsistent. I think out of all my poses, my back poses have improved by far the most. I mean, I had literally no back development before, and now it's just bang in your face,
We got some freaking grilled chicken. What is that? Brussels sprouts, and then we got a sandwich. We're gonna split them. Dude, I'm telling you right now, when I was on the Arnold type of, wide grip, pullovers, flies with dumbbells, my chest grew a lot more than whenever I was just doing traditional training. Now, I think there's something to learn from a lot of the old school greats. Now, do I have Arnold's chest genetics? No. But so does nobody else. If you have good genetics in an area, yeah, it's going to be great, but he also had to have known something that helped him out. I think there's some information you can take from that. I'm not saying that he knew everything, obviously, but I think that method works to an extent. The exercise selection, at the very least, was a good exercise selection. I don't know about the volume and the amount of sets and the amount of exercises, but the actual exercises themselves that Arnold did, definitely good. They worked.